Welcome to Leads and Leverage, Real Estate Team Leader Lounge, where success in real estate meets passion-driven leadership. I'm your host, Tyler Gibson. I'm an entrepreneur, real estate team leader, and investor, and I'm thrilled to have you join us in the ultimate hub for real estate excellence. In this exclusive lounge, we're diving deep into strategies, tactics, and stories that fuel the success of real estate teams. Whether you're a seasoned pro looking to take your leadership skills to new heights or an aspiring entrepreneur ready to build your own powerhouse team, this podcast is your go-to resource for insider insights and actionable advice. Get ready to hear from top experts, industry pioneers, and real-world achievers who are making waves in the real estate world. We'll explore the best practices, share invaluable lessons learned, and equip you with tools you need to thrive in today's competitive market. Welcome to the lounge, where leaders are made and success is earned. Come on in to the Real Estate Team Leader Lounge. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here today on the Leads and Leverage podcast, the Team Leader Lounge. I'm so excited to be here today with Rebecca from Palm Beach, Florida. She's a 24-year real estate veteran who started as an investor, so she's already got my heartstrings pulling because that's how I started. But I'm so excited to hear about her and her team there in Palm Beach County and just her journey and to learn about how she's created a team and created leverage in her business so that all of us can learn more. So thank you so much for being here today, Rebecca. I want to start off by telling us a little bit about your background and your journey through real estate. I know that I've already kind of given a few snippets of it, but tell us a little bit more. How did you get into the industry? How long before you started a team? And any specialties that you and your team focus in your business today or in the past?
Okay, well, I've had a long journey, 24 years for sure. So I started as an insurance agent, started investing in real estate, was having a lot of fun, making a lot of money. So I eventually quit my job and started doing real estate full time. So I was doing a lot of rehabs, a lot of flips, would just kind of do the traditional real estate. If it was friends or family kind of thing, wasn't really looking for it. Well, then the market crashed. I owned 14 properties of my own. I had a couple rehabs going with a partner who was my broker at the time. And it was a mess I had to crawl out of. So with that being said, they kind of turned off the switch back then, and I had to figure out how I was going to eat. I owned a waterfront home in Maryland. You know, it was super scary. I had never experienced anything like that. The funny part is I knew it was coming, but I thought I had a little more time. And if I could have gotten those last few rehabs sold, it would have paid for all of my properties. And you and I would not be talking right now because I would be retired. So hence I'm still working. So from there, I somehow was able to get some REO accounts. So I was selling REOs. And I think that next year, the year after, me and my partner sold 300 REOs.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell you, I didn't necessarily make a lot of money because sometimes you're carrying these things for 2 years, inspecting every week, you know, doing the inspections, the amount of reports and paperwork that was necessary. So that's how I fell into having a team. I was forced to bring people on to help me. And I also had an incredible amount of buyer leads. I could not do all those reports, get the new properties, inspect them. So that's what led me into having a team. And I've never looked back. Now, my team has been large. My team's been small. My team's been 2 people at times. It kind of fluctuates.
Sure.
So that's where it all began.
That's incredible. So as you started to build your team, did you start with an admin or did you just go ahead and start hiring agents?
I really started hiring agents. And because I was doing REOs, it was a little bit different. We had a really great admin in our office. So I kind of had the use of her. Because having an admin is one of the most important things you can do when you start a team. You don't necessarily need a lot of agents. You need somebody that's got your back so you can get out there and do that. And then the best thing is to try to pull out a production, which I've pulled out a production before. Now I'm back again. So it's a crazy roller coaster. Yeah.
that can happen. You get out and then you have to get back. Out of curiosity, what happened that made you get back into production?
Well, I switched companies. So I lost some agents. I was also getting some reload leads with an old company. I was trying to get away from those reload leads. You're giving up about 42% of your money.
Right.
Though sometimes they're easy, sometimes they're not. So some of my people stayed there for that reason. So I had to kind of start all over again. But I did it for the right reasons.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, it's always good to do it for the right
You
reasons.
can't be afraid to shake things up.
I love that advice.
Mm-hmm.
I know lots of people that are terrified of change. And I think one of my superpowers is I'm immune to the fear of change. Doesn't mean I don't know that it's there, but I'm just immune to it. It won't cripple me from making a change because life is all about change.
Absolutely.
I
I welcome it.
40.
Bring it on. Let me figure it out.
That's right.
We all have our apprehensions. We're having some big changes in our industry. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But it's all going to be fine.
Yeah. No, it is going to all be fine. So let's talk about today. Your team today, what does it look like?
Okay, so my team today, I have about 6 agents. 2 are actually regularly producing. The other ones, as you said with your team, have other jobs or doing other things, can't focus. I'm here to support them, but they're not necessarily, they're not making that transition over. And I think a lot of people get crippled by fear. Hiring is sometimes difficult nowadays because agents have so many choices. They think that if you're with a big name company, they don't understand what a team is. And as a new agent, a team is the only way to go. So where would I like my team to be at the end of the year? I would like to add 3 really producing agents. I'm also growing a team up in the Carolinas and Georgia. And I'm probably going to start a small team on the west coast of Florida, which I've always wanted to do. But the markets are very different from here to there, and I think it balances out my business. So I'm ambitious.
Yeah, I love that. What are you seeing for your team there in your local market as it relates to what's happening in the industry? Have you guys found a specialization that's allowed you to thrive as we've seen the market kind of wobble back and forth between seller market, buyer market?
We're seeing more inventory coming onto the market, which I like. I mean, we do list a fair amount of properties. We also work with a lot of buyers. Most of our buyers are out of state, New Yorkers in particular. We do see some California, some Michigan, Connecticut, but let's say New York is our number one. Often these people buy sight unseen from us. So we tend to be more on the luxury side, but we will work with the first-time home buyer, the inexpensive condo. We do it all. But luxury is fun, and we get to go to beautiful homes that way.
I love that. What inspired you to specialize in luxury properties? And what sets you apart in this competitive market?
I think what sets us apart, specializing in luxury, Palm Beach County is all about luxury.
Right.
It's, unless you want to just do the hard work, all the first-time buyers all day long, you can't deny it. You have to do it whether you like it or not. But there's nothing not to like about it.
Right.
But I'm going to say what sets us apart is we have our clients' back all the way. There is nothing really within reason that we won't do. We want to take their worries away. They sometimes don't even know the things that we've done behind the lines to make that transaction smooth. With that being said, going back to lead generation and buying leads and creating leads online and funnels, we get a good percentage of our business from referrals and repeat. So our customers are the most important people. That is our focus, is relationships, being involved in the community. We do charity stuff. I'm on the board of governors for Miami Association Realtors, which has a branch in Palm Beach County. We have events for our customers. For example, at Easter, we did an adult Easter egg hunt at a marina with cocktails, your best bonnet costume hat.
Nice.
All the eggs were filled with adult. We did have a section for the kids too.
Sure.
But, we do things like that. Maybe we'll do holiday boat parade. We've done family picnics before. So we
That's
do a lot of
great.
relationship building. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You were talking about leads, I know that you said that you get a lot from past clients as referrals and things like that. Aside from that, do you have a specific lead channel that you like best that's bringing you new, fresh names?
Believe it or not, I've crossed over to the dark side and I am taking a few Zillow leads. I also use social media when we have listings to generate leads from that. So we have a balance. I play around with different things at different times. We have ISAs that cold call for us and we get leads in that way, more on the listing side, but we do get buyers from that. And we also love doing work with investors. So sometimes we'll do investment club meetings and that kind of thing.
Well, that's cool. What would you, out of those, which one would you say is your main source?
Out of those,
yeah,
besides referrals, referrals, we get probably 40% of our business is referrals.
Wow,
which is
great.
Really high, very, very high. Right now, probably my Zillows are the most active.
What would you say that you guys do that's helped you have success with converting those? Because internet leads is one thing, converting them is a whole nother ball game. What would you say has contributed to the success of converting those?
Getting on the telephone with them. Quit the texting, quit the emailing. You need to form a relationship. You need to do all of those things. But until you get on that phone and bond with them and say, oh, you're coming from New York? Oh my God, I took a vacation in your city once. You know what I mean? Or, oh, your child has baseball practice. I love baseball. Those things that bond you, right? You want to bond. You want to do business with people that are like you and that you like. But you're not going to do that through a text conversation. You're not going to do that through an email conversation. And I know I'm a little bit older than you and a lot of the people that are on my team and they think I'm nuts, but it works. We cannot live through text all the time. Let's look at it even when you're dealing with an agent and you have a problem with that agent and you send them a text. How does that context come out sometimes? Where you could have had that 2-minute phone call and made it a lot softer and get through it together. And I don't know if you're like me, if I'm not making podcasts or doing marketing, I'm in the car with clients or going to clients' homes. I cannot be texting all the time, but I can hit my speaker and make a phone call.
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
Pet peeve.
Yeah. Actually, a friend of mine went on a big rant on social media about somebody's voicemail saying, don't leave me a voicemail or call me, just text me.
It's infuriating.
There's a guy I know, I've heard him say this over and over and over again, but he's constantly saying all conversion happens in conversation. And it just reemphasizes what you're saying there. Pick up the phone and have a phone call, because there's so much in tonality. And then also the ability to ask questions that people, if you wait long enough, they'll answer, or they'll tell you they don't want to answer and to move on, right? But a text message is just too easy to ghost you, right?
I know. And I can get my AI to ask all kinds of wonderful questions. Do you like this one or that one? Do you prefer a Tuesday or Thursday? AI is really damn good, but they also lots of times know that it's AI.
Yeah.
But I'll often say, when I get somebody on the phone, I actually really live here. I live in the area. I work in the area. I let them know where I shop and eat. I want them to know that I'm a local and I know what it's like to live here.
That's incredible. I love
And I
that.
think you get a lot of that in Orlando too. You get
Yeah,
a lot of people in
absolutely.
transition. It's a big place for people to want to come. There's a lot of jobs in Orlando, so you probably have a lot of relocation. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some huge companies here. KPMG, which is a
Hmm.
massive accounting firm, has a huge facility down in Lake Nona. Lockheed Martin has multiple
Hmm.
facilities around here. I think a lot of people think of Orlando and they think tourism, they think
Right.
service industry. What they fail to see, because they probably just don't know, is that there's a budding tech industry in Orlando. And there are lots of white collar jobs available here in tech and engineering and accounting and other business areas that are well outside of the service industry. Actually, I met with the Orlando Economic Partnership Group, which courts a lot of these businesses and brings them there. And they only target white collar jobs where the starting salary is $70,000 and above to bring
Right.
those jobs and those companies here. So there's just so much about Orlando. I don't do as much relocation business as I think I'd like to, but still early in our career and in the way that we're attacking this market, we focus on investors. But you said something earlier about
Mhm.
when you're not doing a podcast or sitting at your desk writing a contract, you're in the car, right? And you're driving around
Right.
a lot. And
Hmm.
so to me, that says you probably have some leverage in your business that would allow you to
Hmm.
do that, whether that's an admin assistant or virtual assistants. And I think you mentioned that earlier. What specific forms of leverage have you found to be the most effective in your business?
Well, having an admin or transaction coordinator, I call my woman that helps me a transaction coordinator, but she is my admin all the way around. She
Mhm.
writes offers. She can even make appointments for me if need be. But that is crucial. And I don't care who you are. If you're doing more than 10 deals a year, you
Mm.
need some backup support. You cannot be in the car and trying to look at emails, and time is of the urgency in a lot of things. So you really need that person. It's also nice to have another agent that's got your back. Two people might want to see homes that day, or you're on a listing appointment. Clients I were with this morning, they flew in and gave me 4 hours this morning, and that was it. And
Mm.
they're flying out tomorrow morning, and they were going to go snorkeling this afternoon, and they're going to buy a house. So if I had to tell them no, I would have lost that, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's important. I really like virtual assistants for making calls and connections. And if they can direct connect you to, I like them particularly for sellers. That's a great way to do it.
Yeah. Are you hiring those virtual assistants to contact sellers directly? Like, are you going out and posting a job somewhere on the internet in a foreign
No,
country to
I
hire that
think
person,
the
or are you using
company
a
I'm
service?
using now was referred to me, and I love them. I would not post an ad and do that. I have hired some people from Fiverr. I
Mhm.
don't know if you're familiar with
Yep.
Fiverr. And I've had some really good experiences with them. They've actually done some editing for me on podcasts. I did have a couple of them making calls. I think I could have made that work with a little more training. So they're a great resource for stuff. People stress about, even agents, sometimes they come on board and they want to make their own logo and they're getting quoted $600. Like, go to Fiverr, go to Canva and make
Go to
your own.
Canva. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's $20. Type
Yeah.
it in there, make a magic logo. It'll do it all
Right.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Those are very great leveraging tools, but you have to know they're out there, right?
yeah. Would you recommend that hiring a cold calling service? Would you recommend that to an agent that's trying to
Absolutely.
create more
I've
leads?
had a really good experience with it. Yes. Hmm.
Wow. That's great.
Hmm.
Well, as a team leader, I'm sure you're always navigating the balance between delegation and maintaining that personal touch with your clients. How do you leverage your team's strengths while ensuring that the personal attention to each lead or interaction?
Well, you have to let them know up front that you are part of a team.
Mm.
And I let them know that I oversee everything, but that so and so may take over this part, or so and so might be at the home inspection. but I know everything that's going on, and do not hesitate to reach out to me. There's nothing I won't know about. But the only way I can do a good job for you is if I have other people to back me up.
Yeah.
And most people do understand it. They like that there's other people they can call on if they need you. But what does happen is you become the person that's most important to them, right?
Yeah.
Talking about getting out of production, that makes it hard. I think sometimes the people on our team, they don't always have that experience and the leadership quality to make people feel safe and know somebody's got their back, right?
Yeah. Well, I think you already touched on this a little bit, but I want to ask you about the importance of transparency.
Well,
You mentioned that you were telling your clients that these other people on your team and being upfront with them. Talk to me about the importance of transparency in your real estate transactions and how your team ensures a logical and transparent process for the buyer or seller.
Yeah, I think transparency is very important. You have to let people know. You have to let them know you're a real human. You have to let them know your expertise and how you're going to get them through that, and that you have other people that you've highly trained and that you see all their stuff. So, for example, my admin, we share an email. I see every email. I see every response she gets. But I also know she's good enough that if I don't look, we're not going to have an issue, right? But I know something's going on. I can be a little helicopter at moments, but I can also delegate.
Well, I think as business owners, you're always fighting against that feeling of giving something away so you can get more time, and the need to want to making sure that it's done the way that you do it, right? But where we grow as leaders and as business owners is when we're able to hand that off to somebody else.
Absolutely.
And let them run and make mistakes and be there to support and try to pick up
Absolutely. Yeah.
if things go totally wrong.
Yeah.
I love that. And I wanted to ask you, how does the Gia Realty team differentiate itself from the other real estate agencies, and what values do you prioritize as a leader?
Well, again, as I said, whether we're talking about our clients or our team, if I'm talking about people on our team, I want to lead by example. I will never ask them to do something I haven't done or am not willing to do. If I tell you, go out there and hang up door knockers, believe me, a few months ago, I did it myself, because you can't be too proud and too big. I know it's all about leverage, but you have to show them that you're not above doing what you're asking them to do, right?
Yeah.
As for clients, you just need to let them know that you are all in and you have their back. You've committed to them and you're not going to let them down. We've got the expertise. We have the tools. We can go through all of our toolboxes. We all have a lot of them. And you can go through that. But I guarantee when I meet with a buyer or seller, I don't have a fancy presentation. My words are enough and they feel safe.
I love that.
And we rarely lose a client. Part of that is personality. We can't teach that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I love systems. But part of why I'm pulling back and more in production is systems don't work because it's not always teachable to the other people on your team.
Yeah, I think that's a good observation, that systems will only get you so far. At some point, it is also about the skills necessary when you're sitting with a person, right? And I think some of it can be taught. It's not all personality based.
No.
But, when you've been in it as long as you have, even when you were doing insurance, it was a lot of it's just about asking good questions and making sure that those are thought-provoking.
You're absolutely right.
And that it gets down to the heart of the issue with the person that you're there to serve, and then deciding whether or not you have the services that they need at that given moment in time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, systems are good. They'll get you part of the way. Skills, once you're standing in front of somebody, I think is the other half. And some people are naturally gifted. Just, they've got that type of personality. They got the gift of gab, and you give them a system and they can go run and do it. And some people, it just takes a little more.
But you're right. It can be learned and taught. There's been times when we've done role playing and all those things that everybody does, but sometimes you can't get the agents to want to do the role play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where you got to step back in and you go, okay, well, if you're not going to do it,
if I'm going to do it, that's where you lead by example.
That's right.
I used door knocking, but role playing is the same thing. I learn something new every day. There seems like every day something happens that you learn.
I love that. What advice would you give an aspiring professional that's looking to build a successful career in this industry?
Well, anybody can do this job if you're willing to put in the work, but you need to know what your job is, and you need to go to work every day. That doesn't mean you say, I'm going to go to the gym at 9 and maybe I'll make calls at 2 and then, oh no, I'm not. You need to kind of have your day set. You want to get all your morning things done, I say between 8:30. So you can be, some people will say earlier, I don't like calling people before 9 a.m. Businesses are not open till 9 a.m. So you want to be ready, dressed at your desk at 9 o'clock and plan to work all day.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job. I can work up until 12 o'clock at night sometimes. I do love what I do and I'm passionate about it. And people are like, well, what are you doing? Our job is marketing. And sometimes we're lucky to show pretty houses.
Yeah.
But we can't show pretty houses if we don't do any marketing. So we are really marketing experts. And if you're going to join a team and you think that team is going to give you everything, it's not going to work. You've got to add people to your database. You've got to let your sphere of influence know what you do. And even though you're new, that you have experts with you and you would love the chance to get their business and help me out in my new career.
I love that.
It's asking. You said that earlier. You got to ask. Can't be afraid to say, get a no. We get a lot of no's.
Yeah.
And I like to say, I'm a yes person and I want to be around yes people. So
I love that.
You seem like a yes person, Tyler.
I am a yes person. When people say you can't, my first question is why?
Right.
And usually it's followed by because. But why?
I like
that.
that.
Reason.
I like that. Why?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not, I can't do that. It's what do I have to do to be able to accomplish that goal? That's always been my approach. I can't afford that. No, that doesn't live in my vocabulary. It's what do I have to do to afford that? Right. And it's a mindset shift, but it's a really hard thing to shift into for so many people. My coach told me this the other day. It goes back to when the first 3 years of our life, right? For the first 3 years of our life, we're constantly told no, right? No, don't do that. Don't touch that. Don't say that. Don't eat that. Don't put that in your mouth, right? It's just no. And we get conditioned to when somebody says no, our response is, okay, I'll stop, right? Well, when you get into this industry, you're going to get no a lot. And if you're not able to overcome that conditioning that we have in our brains that says, okay, I'll stop, then you probably won't make it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Part of that unfortunate statistic of agents that don't last in the industry, right?
Right.
If there was a team leader or somebody that's doing some production and thinking about starting a team, what's one piece of advice that you would give them about starting a team?
I'm going to say be careful who you hire. I used to be the person that, oh, you want to come to work for me? I can help you. Well, like you said, sometimes not everybody is that person that's going to do those things, and they just become zapping your time and energy. Not that you don't want to help them, not that they're a bad person. This is probably not going to be that career for them. I've started giving people the DISC personality test. So I know what their strengths are. And then I also share mine with them. They need to be able to know what I'm capable of doing for them too, right? We need to understand each other and how we can work together. So I think that's a really important thing to start with.
Wow. I love that. Well, thank you so much for your time. We've been talking here for quite some time, and I want to be
Yeah,
respectful
it was
of
really
your time and
fun.
the rest of your day. So if people wanted to learn more about you, either because they're looking to buy down there in Palm Beach or they're looking for a team in the area, what's the best way for them to find you?
I am on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. You can find me anywhere. You can, Google my name, Rebecca Giacobba. You can find me. I'm very easy to find. My name's unusual. My team is Geo Luxury Group. We also have a podcast called I Love Palm Beach, and my phone numbers and socials are everywhere. And as I said, I love the telephone. You can call me. You're not bothering me.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today on the Leads and Leverage podcast, hanging out in the Team Leader Lounge. I thank you to everybody that's watching or listening to the show. You can catch it on all the podcast platforms and on YouTube. And we'll see you all next time here in the Team Leader Lounge. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Leads and Leverage. I hope you found our conversation insightful and actionable. Remember, success in real estate is not just about transactions. It's about the relationships you build, the teams you lead, and the impact you make in the lives of others. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to stay connected with our community of real estate leaders and entrepreneurs, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us bring you more valuable content and guests. Don't forget to visit our website, gpghome.com/leads and leverage for additional resources, show notes, and exclusive updates. You can also follow me on Instagram at real_Tyler Gibson to join the conversation and connect with like-minded individuals. See you next week.